Hey everybody, welcome. It is Tuesday and we are cooking in the kitchen. Today I'm going to be making some pulled pork with an apple carrot slaw. Something a little bit sweet to go with the pulled pork. So I was looking for pulled pork this week because I thought it would be fun to make it. And I was hoping to get some at the farmer's market, but I unfortunately was not. But that's kind of the way things are, right? And one of the things I like to do when I'm cooking and like to help my clients understand is sometimes you need to make substitutions, make exceptions, and find out what does work. So I did end up getting some pork from the local market. And I realized after the fact that when I got it, that it was not a very lean cut of meat. And I'm trying to avoid the saturated fats that are in meats, and I try to make healthy selections. But again, every now and then things happen and we need to kind of go with the flow. So I did take the pork that I had and I trimmed it off. So before I get started with the seasoning of it, and basically the pulled pork is nothing more than slow cooking a roast until it shreds, it literally falls apart, and it stays nice and juicy. So you could do it as a slow cooker or you can do it in an Instant Pot. And today I'm going to do it in the Instant Pot. So, but don't worry, I'll give you the directions for doing it as a slow cook as well. So this is the pork that I bought. It's a shoulder roast. And let me show you what it looked like before, because it was a huge piece of meat and I actually cut it in half. Hold on one second. So this is the other half. And I realized when I bought it that it was way more marbled and had way more fat on it than I had realized. So luckily, having grown up as a butcher's daughter, I did know that I can cut out some of those fats. And that's actually not a bad way to do this. It's an inexpensive cut of meat, but I can make it leaner by getting rid of some of that heavy saturated fat that's attached to it. So when I was done trimming the meat, it looked more like this. So you can see the difference between what I have here. All that white marbling in there is fat, and what I have here. So although it wasn't the ideal cut of meat, it was a way for me to use what I had bought and use what I could find. The cleanest cut of meats, by the way, are the tenderloins. So if you can get a loin roast or a tenderloin, that would be your leanest cut of meat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dry seasoning of my meat. And I'm going to put it into this bowl. Look, this is actually a bone that was in it. I'm going to put that in as well because the meat will literally fall off the bone once I am done. I want to mix up my seasoning now. Let me grab a bowl for that. And measure out some of the seasonings. And I'll tell you exactly what we're going to be adding. So one of the main ingredients in this is actually not a very sweet pulled pork. What I will do is I'll balance the meat with that slaw, which will have a little sweeter flavor. I'm also going to add some carrots in as I'm cooking the meat, and some of that will add some sweetness to it too. And believe it or not, onions as well will do the same thing. So I'm going to add in some paprika. These containers are a little bit difficult for me, there we go, for me to open. So I'm going to add in a tablespoon of paprika, and then I actually bought some chipotle pepper, chili, I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of that as well. And as you can tell, I tend to use what I have, and if I need to make exceptions or try something a little bit different, I'll always do that. So I did find this wonderful chipotle chili that adds a nice smoky flavor to the dish. So I thought rather than 2 tablespoons of regular paprika, I'm going to try half and half. I'll let you know how it comes out, okay? Then I'm going to add in some cumin, 1 tablespoon of cumin. And you don't have to be terribly exact when it comes to measuring these. These are just approximate. Do what flavors you like, and the more you make a recipe, the more variation you can make while you're doing it. So I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of sea salt, scant. I don't really need that much of the sea salt. And I'm going to add in a little bit of the chili powder. Now I did add in some chili powder beforehand. So I think what I will do is maybe just add in a teaspoon of the chili powder right now. To augment that chipotle chili that I added. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of garlic, about a tablespoon of the garlic powder. And about 2 teaspoons of oregano. Again, I didn't have oregano on hand, so I'm using Italian spice blend. I think it should work really well. And I'm going to put in two teaspoons of that. As you can see, I measured it really well. 2 teaspoons of the oregano or Italian spice blend. And then I'm going to add in some cinnamon. I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of the cinnamon. I want to be careful with this, but I don't want to stick my dirty teaspoon into the container. There we go. So 1 teaspoon of my cinnamon. And normally I do allspice, but again, you know, I'm in a new location. I don't know if you noticed the different kitchen here for a short while. So I didn't have my allspice with me. I brought some spices with me, but a few of them I missed out and I didn't have. So what I'm going to do is add in a little bit of my allspice. I'm supposed to be adding allspice, but I'm going to add in just a touch of nutmeg. If I had had some cloves, I would have added in a touch of cloves as well. And you know what? I might just add in a sprinkle more of my cinnamon because of that. So probably added in like another 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I have all of these. I want 1 teaspoon of pepper. And I'm just going to estimate that as well. Black pepper. I have a mill here. A noisy mill. All right. And I'm going to give that a quick mix. And let me show you the beautiful color of this. The paprika and the chili powder, make it mostly a red mix. What I want to do then is I want to coat the meat entirely. So I'm going to sprinkle a little on. I'm going to turn it. I had more pieces because I trimmed the meat. Normally you would just have, you know, 1 or 2 good size pieces of meat. I've got about 2 to 3 pounds here. And I'm going to just use up all of this seasoning. And just coat everything. All right. And then I'm going to, well, okay, so I had a little bit left over. I think I'm going to let it go at that. I've got most everything coated here. I'm going to let this sit for a minute. And while that is sitting, let me bring over my cutting board. Let me just clean off my hands. After working with that meat, I want to have a new surface to be working with. And a new rag. Well, all right. So, in order to use the Instant Pot, what I would like to do is have the meat sitting on a base of onion and carrots. So, let me just clean up my onion here. I will just slice it thinly. Sometimes getting that paper off of the onion is not so easy. So what I'm going to do, cut off the ends, and I'm going to slice the onion down lengthwise, like so, and then it's much easier to take off that paper layer. Okay. All right. And I'm slicing it about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch thick slices. Take the other half of the skin off there. I don't like to take off a lot of the skin because a lot of the nutrients in the onion, and all vegetables for that matter, are in the outer layers of the plant. So I try to keep as much as possible. I don't like to peel apples for that reason. Okay, I have my onions all sliced up, and I'm going to grab 2 carrots here, and I'm just going to probably slice them, I'll say in 1/2 inch slices. Really doesn't matter how large I make it. They'll probably end up falling apart as the dish cooks. So I have now my base for my meat. I have my Instant Pot container. Now, if you have a slow cooker, use the slow cooker right here. And you do the same thing that I'm doing right here. I'm going to add a bed of my onion slices and my carrots. And bring over the meat. Oh, maybe I should bring the pot back. I meant to set this aside. All right. So remember, we have that meat that's sitting in the spices. Look how nice that looks. It's all coated up. I'm going to add this in a layer right on top of the onions there and the carrots. And that's going to add, those carrots and onions are going to add delicious flavor, additional flavor to the meat. If you're doing a slow cooker, what you want to do is cook this on a low heat overnight, 8 hours. If you're doing an Instant Pot, which is nothing more than a pressure cooker, I'm going to do it for 1 hour. Probably take about 15 minutes for it to come up to pressure, and then 1 hour, and then you can release it quickly if you'd like, or you can just let it come to pressure normally. I'm going to add in some of the spices that were sitting at the bottom there. I now have my meat set up. Rinse off my hand again. Those are some very red spices. All right. Now, the one thing that's important to know about the Instant Pot, and the slow cooker too, you want to do this, is to add a little bit of water to the bottom. So I'm going to add about 1 cup of water to the dish, and I'm going to set it on. And I'm sorry that this is so far away, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my pressure cooker. I'm on the high pressure, and I'm just going to increase my time to 60 minutes or 1 hour. It's going to look at 100. Okay, that's it. We're done. All right, so what I will do is when this comes off, I will do another little video and post it later on and show you how I shred the meat into pieces. It should just fall right apart. And it makes for a great topping for a salad for lunch. What I think I will do is I've made some sweet potato wraps in the past. In fact, I have a video of my cooking class doing it that you can look. I will attach the URL for that in the comment section. So if you're interested in how to make sweet potato wraps, they're non-gluten, non-dairy, wonderful to make kind of a wrap with this. And as I said, we're going to balance it with a sweet apple carrot slaw. So first things first, what I want to do is shred my carrots and my apples. Let me move these spices out of the way for now, since we are done with those, and bring over my food processor. Alrighty, fix this. Okay, so I have my food processor here. I'm going to add in my shredding blade. Let's see where I put that. It should be around here somewhere. Here it is, hiding right in front of me. So the shredding blade looks like this. I'm going to add it to my machine here. And I'm going to grab, I want to shred about 2 cups of carrots. And you'll notice that I have some carrots here ready to use. I peeled them up a little bit earlier. And I want to, if you can see, I have a feeder here. I want to be able to lay these carrots sideways so I get some nice long strips out of them. So I'm cutting them to about this length, which is maybe about 4 inches. Cut off those ends, and I'm going to cut it there, and we'll cut this down as well, and let's see, and then we'll have some ends left over, but I'm just going to lay them on their sides, layer them in here. I have some end pieces here that I will add in as well. I don't like to waste anything. I try to use as much as possible when I can. And all right. See if we can get these last remaining pieces to shred. There always are some pieces that won't shred at the end. If I hadn't started my Instant Pot, I could have put them in there. Or what I like to do is freeze my end pieces, put them in and put them in to make a broth when I have enough of them accumulated. So I have my carrot done now. And I would like to grab my apples, Okay, where did those go? Okay, let's grab some out. I have them pre-washed so I can use them. This one here is a nice organic. I try to get organic, but again, depending on what's available, that's what I'll use. So I don't have a corer, which is a handy little tool. If you have a corer, you know how easy it is to use that. So I'm just kind of slicing down and removing those pieces from the core. And now this is a fairly fine shred on this machine. Typically, I think I would do a little less fine, a little coarser, but again, this is what I have, so we're gonna go with it and see how that works. All right, let's add in. Now, originally the recipe calls for, and I made it with a Granny Smith apple, which is nice. It has a nice tart flavor to it. I thought I would try it with, this is a gala, and see if I don't need to add, I would add some dates to it. I'm going to try it with the apple, the sweet apple, and see if I like it well enough. I'm going to leave it just as is. Otherwise, we can add a date. So I'm going to add in another half apple. Usually it would be one Granny Smith apple, and the Granny Smiths tend to be a little bit larger than these. So just to balance out the carrot. We'll add in another half. All right, and let me grab a fresh bowl and some parsley. Now, I love this setup, so you can see I'm just reaching into my refrigerator here. This is the way I store my parsley. I have the bag from the grocery store, and what I've done is I just have a glass of water here. When I get home, I wash my parsley. I cut off the ends of the stems just to freshen them, and I put them in with the plastic over it, and it perks them up nicely. They keep for a long time that way, and they don't wilt or get mushy. So I want to chop some of that parsley up. I need about a half cup, which probably is going to be about half of this bunch. And let me get my bigger chef's knife. See where I left that. Here we go. You can use the stems if you'd like. Stems have a lot of flavor in them, but I find that just the texture of it and the way it looks, I'm not a fan. So I tend not to use the stems a lot, but what I will do is freeze it, and when I'm making broth, add it to that broth. All right. So I have about a little bit more than a half cup here. We'll see how much of that I actually will use. All right, let me grab that bowl. And into this bowl, I'm going to add my parsley, I'm just going to reserve a little bit out. That also will be nice to sprinkle on top if you want to have a little garnish to it. All right, let me show you what I have here in terms of my shredded apples. All right. And the carrots, let me show you those. And again, look at these beautiful colors. The more color, the more health there is in that dish, right? That's what we like to say. Variety of color is always good. All right, I'm gonna hand toss this. All right, show you how that looks. There we go. All right, so we now have the basics of the salad mixed up. And I will probably add in some more parsley to that. And I could have even left the parsley a little bit bigger chop so it wasn't so mixed in. We need to make our dressing now. So I'm going to add in the juice of 1 lemon. And if you notice, I had these out of the refrigerator because if they're at room temperature, they release the juice better. If you squash them, they release even more juice. You can roll it on the table for the same reason. I'm going to cut it in half. And I have my juicer here. So I'm going to use, as I said, juice of 1 lemon. That'll probably give us about 3 tablespoons, almost, depending on how big the lemon is, you could even get as much as a 1/4 cup in. This type of juicer is one of my newest additions, and I really like how easy it is to juice lemons and limes with it. If it's an orange, the oranges are a little bit too big for it to be useful, but lemons and limes juice well. All right, so we now have the juice of 1 lemon. I'm going to add in some apple cider vinegar. Let me grab that. Hopefully I have it close by, yes. I happen to have some Bragg's organic here. And I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons. Let me clean my measuring spoon here. All right. So these are the kind of acidic flavors that we're adding to that dish. I'm going to add some of that garlic. Or actually, let's add in some chopped garlic. Let's see, I've got 1 clove. Let's do that. I like to use fresh when I can. All right. Let me move this bowl out of the way so you can see. So what I like to do with the clove is I just give it a smash with my knife. That will break apart the clove and make it very easy to separate the paper from the actual garlic clove. This is a pretty big garlic clove. I might use just half of it and then see how the flavors are. I can always add in more. You can always add in powdered garlic. All right, so I'm just mincing this. Got a little parsley mixed in with it, but that's okay. Let me show you what we got here. All right, So I'm going to add that into my dressing. Oh, some of it was hiding on the other side of the knife. Tricky that. Or was that? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So add that in. So I have that. I can add in a pinch of salt. And a little bit of that ground pepper. Well, I am challenged today with these jars. All right, so I'm going to add in some cracked pepper. About a 1/4 teaspoon there, maybe a little less. And then I want to add in some of my olive oil. Now, a trick that I love to do is when I'm making a vinaigrette, and this is a type of vinaigrette, right? Because we have the vinegar and the oil going together. In order to blend these pieces these ingredients, sometimes what I have is just a jar, and I put in all of the ingredients that I put in so far, add in my oil, and shake like crazy. But today, we're going to use a whisk. Let's see if I have my whisk here. Yep, I do. And the only one I have is this really big one. So that's what we're going to use. I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. If it tastes tangier than I want, I can always add in more oil. But for now, I'm just going to give this a nice whisk. To get it to emulsify or blend. All right, so we have our, let's see if I can get it to show. Well, all right, we're having a hard time seeing it. All right, I'm going to add that into my salad, my slaw that I have here now. Let's clean up a little bit. How's that? So we've got that. We can move this out of the way. As well as this. All right. And let's take a look then at our salad. All right, I don't know if you heard, but our Instant Pot is up to pressure, which means that the little closure on top has popped up. There's a little button that pops up when it is up to pressure, and the countdown will now start to go. So it'll be another hour, and then we'll let it come down to regular pressure before I can open it up. All right, so let me whisk this again as I was talking. And I'm going to, I don't want to add all of it in yet. Let me just see for now how this looks before I add it all in. I'm just going to slowly mix this up. It smells good. Whoops. Run away. Okay. Let me give it a little toss. And like most slaws, this tastes better if you give it a little chance to stand for a little while. I'm going to give this a taste. See what we think. I'm just going to use my fingers here. Okay, so remember I said that in the past I've used a Granny Smith apple. Using the Gala, this is nice and sweet. I don't think I would add any type of sweetener to it. Now, if you prefer a sweeter slaw, you can add a little bit of honey. Or what I like to do is chop up a few dates and put those in. What's nice about chopping up the dates as opposed to, say, raisins, by chopping up the date, the flavors, the sugars in it tend to blend better because it has a chopped surface than if you use the raisins. Although raisins are a great addition to this. So raisins, dates, a little bit of honey, but I'm thinking this is great just the way it is. Although with some raisins in it, it would have a nice appearance. But since I'm going to do it with the pork, I think I'm going to wait and see. I think this is just fine. So we have our slaw. We have our pork cooking. Remember what I'm going, oh, you know what? I just realized I forgot something important to put on top of the pork, but doesn't matter. I can add it after the fact. I want to add the juice of 1 lemon and 1 lime. That's going to give it that tang, which will be really good with it. So remember to add that lemon and lime. All right. Seems like inevitably something gets forgotten, but since we remembered, we're good. All right. So let me just take this and clean out this area a little bit, and I'll get a plate and show you what we've got. So here we have our slaw. Now this is kind of a juicy slaw, and I think it's because the shredding was so fine. I think I tend usually to like a coarser shred to it, but we got a new rag here, a clean towel. And I will add a little bit of parsley to the top as a garnish. And there you have it. So I hope you get to try this. I hope you get to look at the next video. I will attach it in the comment section for this one, and we'll get to see what it looks like all together. It's a great combination, as I said, the meat, the pork, with the sweetness of the slaw. It keeps you from adding in other processed sugars. Usually with a pulled pork, there's a lot of sweetener that is added. This way, you're getting a natural balance, and it's naturally better for you. So I hope you enjoyed the program today. If you enjoyed what you see here in terms of recipes, go to my website. I have plenty of additional recipes for you to look at. If you would like a copy of the printed version of this, just IM me in the comment section, and I will send it out to you. And I also look forward to seeing you next week. And I hope you are staying healthy and well. And we'll see you next week. What more can I say, right? All good. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Eat well. We'll see you then. Bye-bye now. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the kitchen. If you were with me a little bit earlier today, we were working on making some pulled pork, and I promised to get back to you to show you the finished recipe, which is in here in my Instapot, and it's just about ready to be prepared. So let's take a look. So if you were looking at my previous cooking class, and I will include the link so you can see how we got to this point, you will know that I put in some pieces of pork here, some good sized pieces of pork from a pork shoulder roast. And now I'm going to take it out. It has been cooking in the Instant Pot here, pressure cooker, for about an hour. And here is our finished meat. And as promised, it is just falling apart. So I'm going to be careful about trying to pull this out. Well, it's falling apart as we speak, which is a good thing. We want that. And it smells so good. We made some carrot slaw to go with this, which will be absolutely delicious. Let me show you what we have here. Bring it up a little bit closer. As you can see, it's still very hot, so I will be careful. I added in some carrots and some sliced onions with this, which will add some nice sweetness and flavor to it. And simply what we do at this point is I take 2 forks and basically just pull the meat apart. I will add it back into the juices, and I'll show you those in a second so you can see what it's going to look like. Or better yet, I'll put this on a plate, and we'll pour some of the sauce over it. I still have some more meat in there, but I think you get the idea. See how simple it is to pull apart. And that was all in a 1-hour pressure cooker cook. So it took about 15 minutes to come up to pressure, and then maybe about another 10 minutes to come down. I did force release some of the pressure to accelerate the process so that I could open it up. Let me go grab a plate. Another idea. Okay. Use a little serving dish here. And I will transfer our meat to the serving dish. Let me show you again. Here it is. And what's great about this is you can keep it in the refrigerator for many meals. You could add it for part of breakfast. You could, as I said, add it on top of a salad. And tonight we are going to have it with a wrap. So in the interim, while the meat was cooking, I made some of my sweet potato wraps, which I'm so looking forward to. And I'm going to just add a little bit of our juice here. Which, let's see if I can show you, is this beautiful red color. All right, so I can't show it to you too well. I'll show you in the serving bowl here. And I've got some carrots that go with it. The carrots basically are just kind of falling apart, so they'll be nice and soft in those wraps as well. And there we have it. So I'm going to have those basically kind of a taco dinner with the apple carrot slaw and my wraps. And here's the finished dish. So I hope you get to try it. It is a very, very simple dish to make. Deliciously tasty and good for you. Hope to see you soon. Hope you enjoyed the cooking class. If you have any questions, please just leave them in the comments section. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you would like any more recipes like this, of course, you can go to my website. And I also do very curated recipes for you if you have foods that you'd like to eliminate. If you've taken the blood testing inflammatory test with me and you know what foods are causing your symptoms, happy to put together some recipes that help you do that. And hopefully you start learning how to cook, to eat healthy, finding foods that you love and enjoy. Look forward to next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.